Say engage. Welcome, all you spooky folks out there. We are back with another horror night. Tonight we got, well, a very special guest, backed by popular demand. She was on Project Unknown talking about all the spooky real life shit that happened. Now I'm going to bring her on to talk about all the spooky cinematic shit that happens. And that's the one and only Zuul. Welcome.
Hi, guys. Hi. How's it going?
Going good. Happy to be here. Happy to be on another horror nights. Favorite time of the week. Talking horror movies.
Yes. We're all snowed in. I'm stuck in my house. This is my little costume room. All my scalps on the wall.
Oh yeah. You know, but what better time to delve into some movies or to even watch or binge watch some things when it is and you're snowed in, the weather's not good out.
Exactly.
It's dark.
This is
cold,
perfect horror movie weather. Perfect horror movie weather. This is when you can really get into like anything from like ones that you've been waiting to watch and just didn't have the time to ones that you've never even heard of that you wouldn't watch any other time because it feels like a waste of your time. But you're stuck indoors in the cold. You may as well curl up with a blanket and some popcorn and watch that terrible horror movie because it might not be that bad.
Well, yeah, it all depends on what you define as terrible. I have to say, I don't really look at movies as being terribly or good or bad. I look at movies as being. There's been some, but
that I've sat through that I was like, I'll never get that hour back.
Oh, come on,
no, but I wouldn't say they're bad. They're misfired.
Whoa! There's been a couple of times I shot you a clip of like really bad murder scenes in horror, and I just keep on telling you, whatever we do can't be as bad as this.
Well, yes, I mean, but that's not. But see, sometimes you get to a point that you have such a low budget on a film that you're like, you know what? I know I can't win the best film, so fuck it. I might as well be the worst.
So I feel like it's not so much the budget of a film, but the meat of a film, the spine, the thing that makes it tick is the script. The script. If you have a terrible script, it doesn't matter if you have good actors. It doesn't matter if you have good film cinematography. It's still going to be terrible story.
Well, if you're telling a bad story, you're telling a bad
If you're telling a bad story, exactly, then those are the ones I don't enjoy so much, are the ones where ultimately the story just had so many Swiss cheese holes in the plot that you're like...
Well, if you're going to do a weird film or you're going to do a film to see
make it fun.
Well, then make it an art house film and call it what it is. But,
exactly.
You know,
make it fun. Do something wild with it.
There's been plenty of films that I've watched that have been, what the fuck did I just see? But it's all in the name of art. The shots were done very weird or wilder. You know.
What was that one? It was about the tire. Wasn't it just called Tire?
Might have been, but like I was telling somebody today, one of my favorite ones, probably Irreversible. The whole movie was shot backwards. It's a wild movie. The scene, of brutality is all done in one take. So you're
That's awesome. I did not know that. That's
cool.
There's
no cuts. There's nothing on the one scene. Everything else is like whatever, but the one major scene in the film. And I watched it first time I watched it backwards, then I watched it forwards, and I'm just like, that was pretty good. That was geniusly done. I understand that. Another one I thought was pretty done was The Table. I mean, it's kind of funny. It's kind of scary. It's kind of being a parent. It's kind of really scary, actually. Especially if I was really like a newborn dad, I would think that movie would be a little bit more terrifying. Being a little bit older, it's like, okay. But I can see that anxiety behind a parent. When you see things happen to children on screen, being a parent, it makes you kind of cringe a little bit.
Yeah. It's the ones that have children. Okay, so one of my favorite films ever, it's a classic that involves a child, is Poltergeist, the original Poltergeist. I remember the first time seeing that, the feeling you have when you realize the little girl is lost lost like in the walls of the house.
Yeah,
And when
like,
she steps up on the stairs and she goes, I felt her move through me. Like that's such an emotional scene. Like, oh,
yeah.
because it hits you right in the parent button.
Not as emotional as the truck riding through Gage.
Oh my God, that one too. That one too. That was devastating. Absolutely
Especially being
devastating.
a
No one
kid,
does
you're
it like
like,
King.
the thing is that, you know,
What was worse? The first time around when you saw Gage get killed, or the remake when you see the truck like just miss Gage, and you only think to yourself, "Oh, okay," you know.
And it hits the little girl.
And the little girl
Gage,
just fucking crushed.
Gage, because he was just such an innocent little baby. And
you
I
know
think,
what? The little girl in the first movie was more annoying. I wouldn't have mind seeing her have gone hit. And she just kept
Jesus
on talking about the
Christ.
Gage
cat,
wasn't
this
old
and
enough to
that.
be annoying yet. And
She was
I think I
worried
saw,
about church and this
I
and
think
that.
I saw that scene when I was about 9 years old. So that kind of traumatizing when you're like 9 years old and you watch a baby get hit by a truck. My grandmother raised me. She let me watch anything I wanted to growing up. I was unrestricted. I was spoiled rotten with media. I could listen to any music I wanted to. I could watch any movie I wanted to, TV shows. So I run amok with that. And so I have the whole lifetime of experience of watching great horror films and growing up with it. I think it's important for children to grow up with that, to realize the difference between fantasy and reality.
But
And
see,
it grows that creative
Or just
It
be like,
is.
or just
place
be
to
like,
put your rage, the creative place to put your rage, because we're all going to have rage.
or
Oh,
just
yeah.
like my dad is saying, like, yeah, you fuck around, that's what happened. You fuck around, you find what happens. There you go.
I
Don't
mean,
fuck around.
me being into things like this, obviously I got a kid. He's a boy. He's obviously curious in things I do and so forth. So like very early on, I allowed him to watch a lot of horror movies. I draw the line when it gets into sexually explicit films.
Of course, understandable.
But with any kind of violence, even older films, like I've let him watch like parts of like Cannibal Holocaust and stuff because at the end of the day, all you're watching is gore. And gore can be made at home. We make gore during Halloween season. We make gore in the backyard. I make gore for fun.
Have you ever heard of Happy Tree Friends?
Happy what?
Happy Tree Friends. It is an animated cartoon series that, when you're talking about gore, my ex-husband
we
thought,
made this last year for fun.
that's cool. My ex-husband thought that it was child friendly because it had like little happy cartoon characters, and it's called Happy Tree Friends. So he put it on, fell asleep, wakes up. The kids are watching these little cartoon, cute little animals just rip each other to I mean, the worst imaginable animated gore. It's so fucking funny though. Like, I love it. Happy Tree Friends. I recommend it. It looks cutesy, but it's not cute.
But that's
I came home and that's what they were watching, and I was like, okay. So
this is gonna be Vic. This is gonna be a new favorite from Michael.
Introduced.
And
yeah, you're
when
gonna love it.
And when the wife watches, it'll be the cutesy part.
Yeah, because they're like, going around on a merry-go-round, for example, la 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 la, and then all of a sudden one of them gets caught under the merry-go-round and is like shredded, and the other one's like, oh, and tries to help them and gets caught too, and like it's just crazy. It's great shit. Totally twisted shit. You gotta watch it. It's great.
Oh, I put Vic through the ringer though. I mean, in October, I made him start off by watching like Serbian film. I made him watch freaking all sorts of different movies. We're still not done. I still need him to watch.
I used to be a horror movie nut, then I had kids. So about like 5 or 6 years, I kind of like drifted off the scene. And Versace's like, I got some real fucking fucked up movies, to show you. So I'm like, back in the days, I was watching the worst of the worst. So it's like, bring it on. So he shows me Cannibal Holocaust.
Cannibal Holocaust. That was fun.
And I'm watching this, and I'm just like, this is like National Geographic. It's like, yeah, of course, you go to Amazon, you fuck around, what happens? They eat you.
That reminds me of something. One of the best, worst horror movies I've ever watched that stuck with me was Vinion. Similarly, shot in the Amazon. I'm not going to ruin the plot of the movie for anyone. Go watch it. It's worth watching, but be prepared to be really fucking disturbed when you're done watching it and wonder whether or not you should have watched it.
Was
It's
it
one of
better
those
than Eli?
films that
Was
you're
it?
like,
Was,
once you've seen it, you can't unsee it.
well,
But since I had
let
to
me ask
see
you:
it,
was it better than Eli Roth's take of the whole genre? Because I thought his movie Green Inferno was boring. Thought it was lame and boring
yeah,
compared to what the Italians did before him. It was boring.
Green Inferno was boring. Vinian is much weirder. It's Vinyan. It's weird. It's one of those weird films.
You got to send me a list of these things. I watch these at night. The other night I watched.
I don't know where you would even find Vinian.
I find
Vinian I had on disc
it.
from Blockbuster Video when I worked there. I worked at Blockbuster Video for 5 years. That's where the name Zuul came from. I think I told the story on our last podcast about how that came about. It was official. I got a paycheck in that name. So
and it's funny. I didn't really get during my Blockbuster days. I wasn't really much into horror. At that time, what really was big was at the time was the Star Wars prequels were coming out.
I was
and Lord of the
into
Rings.
Horror, have been since.
I was into horror, but there wasn't. It was weird. I got wrapped up in like Lord of the Rings and stuff, but like my horror love started way before that. Like I used to walk into the VHS the VHS store down the street, the video rental store, and my dad would let me get anything that I wanted as long as it wasn't past the little gates, and so I would just always pick the greatest horror films that I could based on the covers that they had. Paint Me Blood Red was a good one.
Yes.
There was a bunch of great ones. 2000 Maniacs. I liked freaking Herschel movies. I liked freaking, other movies too, like Shocker, and I like these horror movies. And at first when I was younger, they scared me a little bit, but as I grew up, they kind of comfort me in a way that. I mean, now I go to sleep watching these fucking things. But, I get hooked on these rails on Facebook and shit. And they'll be
watch what people refer to as murder porn to take a nap. I put on like...
Yes. And I'm at that point, and then you see some guy that's a little bit younger or older than me, and he'll come on and be like, don't watch this film. It's the most disturbing film in the world, and you're not going to watch it.
I'm going to watch that and then take a nap.
So 11 o'clock, here it is. I'm watching the movie Playground. I'm watching like 2 10-year-olds kill a 5-year-old. Okay. I watched that night. I watched Cruel Summer the other night.
Because it's all fantasy, and we know it's not real. So, and that's well, it was, like I was saying, the creative outlet.
I will say this about the movie Playground: it's uncomfortable seeing kids kill kids.
Yeah, I think that would probably make me really like squeamish, but
I like the way that it was shot so wide and far. It wasn't like up close. And at the end of the day, you know what? One of the first films
it's no worse than, like I said, the murder porn stuff. I watched the unsolved mysteries and
but didn't we all grow up watching Children of the Corn? Didn't we grow up watching Children of the Corn?
And those are real horrors.
We already seen kids kill kids.
Yeah. We've
the scary part is
Americans thrive in that environment.
The thing is, movies like Playground, Eden Lake, for instance, and things like that, you know why they're scary is because it shows you that with the lack of parental structure, that there is no rules, and then societies can get overrun, or bad things can happen. It just goes, and it also teaches you
like what happened in Animal Farm. I remember reading Animal Farm in school and being like, "This is a horror novel," but it was great.
I watched
great book, great film. They did a great job filming that too, even though it's PG-13. Back when we were kids. Everything was PG-13.
They told me not to watch the movie Cruel Summer, and I watched it, and I was like, "Fuck,
I like Cruel Summer."
That was wild, but it's based on a true story, and I'm like,
well,
oh well, it's based on a true story, and at the end of the day, it's realistic. It looked realistic. It felt realistic. The whole thing. I could see why it's uncomfortable to people, but it's a movie. I mean. Some of my favorite movies is like August Underground series. I got to talk to Fred Vogel and pick his brain on those films. Those are wild ass films that he made, and he matured as a director. His latest film, the final interview, was totally different kind of movie, totally different kind of story.
What did you think of the new Toxic Avenger? Did you see it?
I did. I thought it was okay, but I mean, I'm a Trumbo fan. I like the original stuff. If I'm gonna go back, it's
Yeah.
hard for me to watch remakes
Yeah.
and remade movies. I just, unless the same director and the same
I had a
person
hard
is doing
time,
it.
like, staying focused on it. It didn't reel me in the same way.
No, we're
It
living
was
in a different time period, though. When we
yeah.
lived in then, the toxicity and all these creature features, it made more sense. We're now 40 years later or so, and it's like, yeah, Creature from the Black Lagoon is interesting, but is it really gonna scare me at night? No, probably not.
Right. Right.
You know,
But and there was artistry in the old films too that
well,
not
the
saying that
practical
new films
effects. I think
lack
the
yeah,
even
the
the
practical effects.
cheesiness of it.
Exactly. The practical effects that we don't have now because we use CGI and we cheat. We cheat the system. We use a lot of AI and
Not me.
CGI
I
that
won't. I mean, I will for some
the
things,
films
but
I've been in, they haven't because they're low budget films and we can't afford CGI. So we have to actually, you
see, I'm the
know,
opposite. Well, I mean,
lots of special
I
effect
can afford
makeup.
the CGI. I own the CGI. It's just I would rather do the practical effects 'cause I think it's going to be easier. I mean, I don't know.
Perhaps.
For me, I'm like this. If I'm doing something
I love
horror,
practical effects in a movie,
if I'm
and I
doing
just
horror, I obviously want it to be as real life as possible to the
yeah,
most extent. So you want to use practical effects. If I'm making a sci-fi thriller or something or a sci-fi film or something, yes, I'm going to use all sorts of laser beams and shit because, well, I don't have
I
lasers
have
and
that
shit,
same
but
opinion of haunted houses. When you walk into a haunted house attraction, I want more actors and less animatronics, because not that the animatronics aren't cool. They're cool as fuck. It's really neat. I'm glad somebody had the ingenuity to create such a thing, and I do want to see some, but I really like the practical effect of being scared by something real.
that that just touched your arm and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, something
You
real.
know.
Something that has a sentience to it. And there's a sentience to the practical effects in movies that you pick up on. It's a vibe, and you just don't get that from CGI. You
But no,
don't
but,
get that
but
vibe.
you don't, and I was lucky. I had the luckiness of talking to Linnea Quigley from Return of the Living Dead, and she was going to be remaking a movie about called Trash, and it was supposed to start being in production, but her person that kind of oversees her projects was like, no, we're not going to do it because it had like 60% CGI, and she's just like, no, I'm known for my
Yeah.
80s. I'm a screen queen. Like, no, not going to work.
Right,
Um,
right.
I mean, yes, it would be cool if you had like a filter of horns, but what's really cool is those horns are attached to your head.
They're for reals. They're
Well, that's what
there.
I'm saying. You know what I'm
They
saying? Like
grow out of my skull. No.
it's the same thing, though. You want to see more because, well, it
Yeah.
can be done more.
Well,
But
and
like I said, a sci-fi film, I expect to see lasers. I expect to see some wild, CGI like Terminator 2. I loved all the CGI in Terminator 2 because it made it a better action film.
yeah,
There's no way to
true.
blow
It
apart
depends
metal
on
like
the
a
type of film.
T-1000.
In an
Exactly. With
action
horror,
film, CGI makes sense because there are things that you want to see happen that you
you need
can't have happen
explosions.
in a
Yes.
practical, in a real way. We can't actually blow up a building. I mean, we used to, but then our films had very few exploding buildings in them because we only have so many buildings we can just go around blowing up,
Well, that's the
So
thing.
if you want a
Either
whole
you're
bunch of
working
buildings
on a micro
exploding, you got
scale
to
or you're
use,
freaking.
yeah, that makes
But
sense.
you want to do all this and there's action scenes, and I get all of that. But when it comes to horror, again, I am kind of anti it because, I mean, why are you going to use fake blood, on a CGI screen when we have, well, fake blood in a bottle?
Yeah.
you
Yeah, I
know?
prefer that. One of the coolest scenes from a movie um, that I was in is in Meat, the movie, which is a
Yep,
indie horror film. Did you get to see Meat? Meat
I
was
have
great.
seen.
It is a LBGTQ movie, so there's a lot of penis in it, but the main killer is iconic. He is just he's the stud. He has this head covered in spikes. It's just so cool. I don't want to ruin the movie, but there's a scene where something happens on stage and the audience is just awash with blood. And we did that with practical effects. I got to experience that. So when I watched that scene, I remember being in that scene, experiencing that scene like it was really happening, because it was really happening. And so it just has such more, the reaction from the crowd is more realistic because it really happened.
Yeah.
So you feel that it's palpable in the movie. Their panic is palpable. And I think that's missing if we were to be reacting for pretensies. Pretend you just got sprayed with blood. When? Now? Oh,
you know? Yeah, and then you add in all this blood that looks semi-real, but it's never going to replicate. One shot.
And the beauty of it was we all pulled together to do that. And it's this beautiful moment in the film. It's this beautiful moment in the film that it just is cinematically, it is an iconic moment, and I'm just so happy to have gotten to be a part of that, to have experienced it. So yeah, I wanted to share that, but that is one of the coolest scenes too that I've seen in a movie, besides like the beginning of Ghost Ship where they slice everybody in half.
I like that. Okay,
yeah,
I like that. But I have to say the new Final Destination had a lot of good scenes.
It did. I was impressed.
I
did not expect it to be as interesting as it was, because
it's funny because that first building, it gave me chills, because when I went to Canada, I was in a place called the Sky something, and it was almost identical to that. It wasn't where it was shot though. I looked it up, but they have a place in Canada. That's just
I went into one of those. It's the Sky Needle.
Yes, and like it has the glass floor and all.
It does. I remember being in that thing and being absolutely petrified because you could see.
I had panic attacks. I couldn't.
Me too.
Like, I'm gonna fall.
We went years ago before my second child was born. I was pregnant with my second child, and my ex-husband was like, "Let's go up in this Sky Needle," and I'm like, "Cool, that'll be fun." And I did not expect it to have a glass floor. So once we got in, I was like, I don't want to be in here. And he's like, too bad, we're in here now. And up it goes. And I'm just like,
yeah, it's weird. When I watched that, though, I was like,
yeah, that hit me like in the feels, man, because I was like, woo.
But I liked how they rejuvenated that whole franchise. I thought they did a great job bringing it all together. Tying all the movies in.
Yeah, they did. They did a fantastic job tying it all together. And what I was really impressed with the new Final Destination was that they had new and interesting ways for people to die. I thought they would have run out by now of the freak accident. How many? I thought maybe their creative team was going to go dry eventually.
Why isn't there what, 1,000 ways to die?
Reusing the same material, and they're going to run out when they get to about 1,000 ways to die, you know? And
yeah, exactly. Once they get to whatever they was seen on that show, 1,000 ways.
Right. 1,000 ways to die. That's a great show. I like that show.
It was some weird shit.
Although, I remember. That's real horror again.
I'll always remember the one guy that died from peeping in somebody's window and the window breaking and snapping his neck. And for some reason that just always stuck with me, because I watched it as a kid and I'm like, I will never look in someone's window ever, because that would be my luck. That window's going to come down and snap my neck.
Instantaneous karma. Justifiably deserved. Justice served raw.
But I feel bad for the people in the house. All of a sudden you're just sitting there, all of a sudden you just... Wait,
oh, shit, there's a dead man in my window. Fuck.
Where did he come from? Like, no, really?
This just fucked up my whole night.
Whatever they were doing, it killed the vibe, honestly.
Now I gotta call the cops. There's a dead man in my yard, stinking up the place.
Unless they're into it, because that was going to be the first video that I plan on showing Vic after he got divorced, and that was going to be necromantic, because there is love after death.
There shouldn't be. It's against the law, but it does
Not
exist.
everywhere there isn't. Not everywhere. Some places
Not
do
everywhere.
have.
It's legal in some places.
It is.
Those places will be listed in the comments for anybody who's in. No.
Divorce? What's divorce? I don't know where divorce is.
Well, now that you no longer have a wife.
Oh, a slave owner.
You're free? Yes.
Now that you're a free man.
Well, the thing is Vic's so far up in Vermont, you might as well live in the South.
Yeah, pretty
Poor
much.
Vic.
Comes all the way back around.
It is. It does.
From north to south.
I like necromancy. I like movies that play with shit that normal people won't fucking touch.
Bestiality's really.
I thought Totus
Dominion
King
goes.
was really good too, though. His other films there, where he was like every day was a different way somebody died, and death is just this continuous cycle, and da 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 da. I like weird films. I like foreign films.
I
more
like
because
the concept of that death is a continuous cycle, that it just happens over and over and over again.
It does.
So, and I'm like, that's kind of baller. I like it. It means that like, even if you fuck up this time, there'll be another chance.
But that's the thing. I like
next time.
I think foreign films do a lot of things that American films just can't do. Americans want these cinematic blockbuster endings with happy-go-lucky survivors and shit, and it's just not going to happen all the time in real life. And I think the foreign films capitalize on that. Like, if you look at the original, like, Speak No Evil compared to its American remake, you see a much different ending.
A darker film, yeah.
Yes, much darker.
Much
and
darker.
I enjoyed
Much
the
darker.
original way much better because of that.
Yeah, when they Americanize films, they tend to soften them around the edges a little bit. Where,
I don't like that. And give it to me raw if you're gonna give me a horror movie. I don't need to see the.
I don't always have
to
need
be
a
a
final
good
girl.
guy.
I don't always need a hero at the end. I
Because
really
life
don't.
doesn't always have heroes.
I sometimes like some of the best films. Some of the best ones I've seen were ones where everybody dies at the end.
Well, yeah.
I know that doesn't do much for a sequel. We just recently
but
watched,
not every.
for
But
example,
that goes
though,
back to not every movie needs a sequel. You're telling a story. A story doesn't need to go on forever.
Exactly. So, like, have you seen the new Black Phone?
Yes.
I did not like it.
No, I thought that there should have been a one and done because the book, the short story, the short story that was made that it was based on was really well done. It was really well done.
Everybody
Killer's
died.
dead.
And so to have him come back supernaturally, I was like, eh.
Well, the kid didn't die. Finney didn't die.
No, Finney didn't die, but
him and the sister survived the killer.
Guy
Okay.
did.
Yes.
So,
he died. All the kids that were dead died. You had enough.
They should have had it. I was hoping for a new villain. Somebody who maybe one of the survivors so fucked up that he perpetuates the crime.
Like if it had Finney almost like
Yeah.
grown up and had Ben come the new killer.
Because he's so traumatized and he doesn't even know he's the killer or something.
Or even the sister, something.
Something more believable than I'm coming back from the grave. They didn't do it right. They didn't do it right. If you're gonna do that, you got to have like that Michael Myers swagger. This guy.
Well, I think too many movies are doing that. I mean, even Art the Clown has now turned into a demonic entity has possessed him. He's coming back multiple times. People are giving birth to his head.
I don't watch.
Terrifier
That's
is getting
one
too
movie.
much.
That's the one horror movie I have not seen and will not see is Terrifier, and that's because of my crippling fear of clowns. I am a huge, what do they call that, coulrophobe?
To be fair, he's more of a mime. He's more of a mime than a clown. To be fair,
well, that is true.
He
is.
I know
too many clowns.
So, like, I can see him at cons and not freak out. I'm actually more terrified of birthday clowns, like the rainbow hair and the frilly.
Oh yeah.
And the red nose.
Like the postcards.
No. What about
There's something they're hiding. There's nobody wants to dress like that. Nobody.
Well, they do though. I know these kind of people. They like it. They enjoy
There's something seriously wrong with them.
Well, there is, but that doesn't mean that they're scared.
They're out to. They're hunting me.
Wrong.
So I have a real life experience that I want to share with you that tells you why I'm so terrified of clowns. because you won't believe it. It's unbelievable. So I've always been a little afraid of them. I had an experience as a child at a circus where I didn't volunteer and they called me down anyway. So that's where it started. But I grew up and went, it's a man in makeup. I'm fine. Right? I worked with people with disabilities. I took them to a ghetto circus in Cleveland that was performed on a stage and had 6 actors that changed costumes all the time. We had been here for about an hour. Each of them was sitting next to me because they don't get along. All of a sudden, they're giggling and looking down. I look down to see what they're giggling at. In the middle of an auditorium in Cleveland, there is a live human being, a clown, under my chair. I don't know how long he's been there. I don't sit around to find out. I climb across the laps of the people in the audience and I run out the back of the auditorium, but I've left my client, so I have to look back in as this man climbs out. And I think it's a man because it was androgynous. You couldn't tell if it was a male or female, but it was real muscular, real short, creepy little clown, frilly neck thing, climbs up on stage and does a clown performance.
Class A carny, though. That's
Why?
Class A carny. That's carny for you.
They're hunting me. I swear after that, they're hunting me. Of all the people in that audience, why me? Why me?
You've never been to a wrestling show, have you?
I have not had the good fortune of going.
Okay, well, good, because they're all clowns there. You're not going to like it very much.
Yeah, so
the same mentality is there. That's a carny mentality.
The mentality is fine, but that one, that's not normal, guys.
I know 6 disabled clowns. Never mind.
So, like,
taking
clown
people.
movies terrify me. I watched it when I was real young. The original It scares me a whole lot more than the current It.
Well,
the
yeah,
current
the Pennywise
It has
is
more
more
of that
colorful.
mimey thing going on, and that's not quite as scary.
Pennywise is more colorful.
Yeah,
the original one.
The original one has that birthday clown vibe, the colors.
But that was actually Tim Curry's wanting, because Pennywise wasn't made like that in the story. It was more of the newer version, the silver.
And I love Tim Curry, but that clown scares me. That clown terrifies me. So yeah. So I don't. My way of coping with clowns is, as my clown friends know, if they get too close, they sometimes get punched in the nose. So, and it's just my scared reaction, because if I feel cornered and they back me, because they think it's cute and funny to back you into a corner, but until you punch them in the nose.
Look at Vic's face. Like, you know what? I want you to meet my friend, Mr. Pickles. Get real close.
No. Unless Mr. Pickles doesn't like his nose shape.
We ran into a bunch of juggalos.
So no, I've never seen Terrifier. I've seen clips of Terrifier.
So I take it you're not a juggalo then either.
I love ICP's music. Absolutely love their music. They're black and white, so it doesn't bother me quite as much, but I just don't care for their
You're not down with the rest of the clowns, only just a few.
I'm not down with the clowns. No offense to the juggalos out there. Much love. Mwah. You guys are doing your thing. And I'm always all about anybody doing their thing.
Well,
but
I have to say thank you to people such as yourself with your phobia of clowns. They removed clowns from the circus.
Aww.
My kid came home crying when he went to the circus with his grandparents because there was no more clowns because people were afraid.
That's a shame. I'm sorry about that.
I'm sorry.
That is such a shame.
I
just avoided circuses because it's not their fault that I don't like them. It's my own problem.
I mean, if you want to see the animals,
unless they corner me.
Well, let's see. If you really want to see the animals, you could go to the zoo, see the animals, not see the clowns. People want to see the circus act. They go to the circus and see everything.
So we say if you make enough of a stink, you can get clowns taken away from a circus. So if I make as much of a stink as those people did, can I get fat promoters away from professional wrestling leagues?
Yes.
Okay.
Not only did they remove the clowns from the damn circus, they also removed the animals because that's animal cruelty. And not
that I
the way
agree
your
with.
friend did either.
Because a lot of the circuses were very abusive of the animals. It's not really the life for them to be traveling. It's not natural.
Well, you figure there's a bunch of
travel in cages.
You figure there
I
was a
get it.
bunch of freaking clowns trying to look under your skirt, most likely. What makes you think they can be in charge of animals too?
Right.
I mean, they're not
So
zookeepers,
yeah.
and
I
animals
love
aren't an
the
act.
acrobatics and things like that, but now we're digressing into circuses. See,
Yeah.
we've took the clown route right on out to the circus, and we're coming right on back to. I've never seen Terrifier, and I'm not going to.
Yeah,
But there is some good circus horror films.
to back Zuul's, not watching Terrifier. Sassy tried to show me like movies that make me go like, "What the fuck?" And he showed me
Right?
Evil Cause. It didn't make me go, "What the fuck?"
I didn't tell you to watch that, by the way. You
Yeah,
watched that on
he
your
showed me
own.
a Serbian film where you see a guy all like fucking choked up by like horse tranquilizers, taking a girl from behind and she gets sawed in half. And I'm just like, cocaine's a hell of a drug. None of that bothers me. Of course, I get a little cocky and I'm like, I'm gonna
There's a lot of
I'm gonna watch Terrifier 3 because I'm not as sick as Versace is. How bad could this movie be? And I'm talking to Versace, I was like, is that girl masturbating with a broken piece of glass?
Well, I mean, see that, but
It's
that's
like,
shock
what the
horror,
fuck?
though. That's there to shock you. That's not there to be realistic. You're not going to run into that. You might run into some Serbian film situation someday. You never know.
let's hope the hell not. The Serbian
No, but in this
film,
world, you never
the Ser-
fucking know.
the Serbian film had a lot of controversy to it because when it did come out, there was no trace records to prove whether it was filmed ethically or not.
Well, no,
Like,
that's like,
did,
I mean, not for
did it
nothing.
happen? It was the
Well-
question at the time that movie was released. It kind of like the Blair Witch Project, how the
Well,
way
more,
that they
I was going to say,
marketed
bring
it.
it back to Hannibal Holocaust. They dragged Diodato into jail because they thought he killed his people.
Right. So when they do horror that way, the same way that was it H.G. Wells that did the alien
The landing, yeah, and the invasion.
yes
War of the
on the
Worlds.
radio,
People thought it was real.
and people thought it was real. Yes.
And the thing about
That
Serbian
shit is
films,
wild. I love that when they do that. It's a hard trick to pull off, to do your marketing in such a way and to produce a film in such a way that
Have you
people
seen
question
August
whether or not it's
Underground?
real.
Have
I
you
don't
seen
think
it?
I've seen that one. That is
It's
one
a-
I'm going to put on my list. August
Take
Underground.
August Underground is a trio. It's like a mock snuff film, basically. I mean, it takes place. Fred stars in it himself. It's his first film or whatever, and it shows a serial killer through the eyes of a camera. He films everything, but he had this
I
marketing
might
plan.
have seen that now that I think about it.
He had
'cause
this
that
marketing
sounds-
plan that he was just going to leave VHSs with this film, nothing on it, all around parks and benches and everywhere. And
I
then,
heard something about that.
like
too.
about 10 days before his marketing was ready to execute, the anthrax scare happened and he had to stop everything because people would have just, reported it. So he had to release it
Yeah.
normally and kind of got busted being having to not do it proper.
Yeah, damn, that sucks. Bad timing.
Because I would
for
imagine,
Anthrax.
you're a VHS head. You imagine picking up a film, you put it in there, or somebody swapped out one of your blockbuster films, they come back and be like, there's a bunch of murdering on this. You're just like, wait a minute, that's not that
Speaking
film.
of swapping out films, I can say this now because Blockbuster no longer exists. When we left Blockbuster Video, our crew, and I won't say what crew it was, and so they would have to solve the mystery. But when we left Blockbuster Video, we took the security tape and we switched it out with midget porn.
That's amazing. I'm all for it.
So the Blockbuster Video's last security tape that went into their liquidation office was midget porn.
I don't know. Speaking of liquidation, my favorite day was Failed Destroy Day. We just bag everything up and take it home.
Oh yeah.
Bye.
Yeah. I'm gonna take this out back and destroy it.
Into the trunk, bags and bags of videos would go.
Right. I have a beautiful, it's not on the wall in here. There's one of the Blockbuster Destroys on the wall over here, but they had like art. You remember the art that they would have?
Yeah.
And they had the girl from the cover of Time magazine or National Geographic with just the eyes, and like the veil is over her nose and you really can't see anything but just her eyes, but her eyes are real wicked looking, like real bright. That was supposed to have been destroyed because they never had the copyright to print that image in the first place. Not even National Geographic didn't have the permission from that person to print that picture in the first place. So it was a very controversial picture, and there was a lawsuit and everything behind it. And I was supposed to destroy that. So that went into the destruction of my trunk.
Oh, no. And not for nothing, you're looking at probably the top sales of direct TVs in the area for like 3 years straight. Like just bam. I was selling direct TV out of Blockbuster. Like anybody that walked in there had somebody going.
They were
to their
selling
house.
their own demise. I found that to be hilarious when they were selling direct TV, because I was like, that's kind of the
Yeah, but it gave me a
antithesis.
bonus. Every 5 gave me money. I was making
Of
bank.
course, of
I was
course.
bringing home.
I had no problem pushing product, but I was like, I understand why Blockbuster failed. I do.
Well,
I see
Netflix
where
came out.
they went entirely wrong. And then the guy who presented Netflix the idea, the guy who came up with the idea actually presented it. He worked for Blockbuster originally, and he presented it to Blockbuster first. Blockbuster laughed him out of the office and told him it would never work. So he left, and he blew them out of the water.
Well, because it was cheaper at the time, and then the streaming started to happen. Streaming was the big game changer. Once it became streaming, it wasn't new stuff they were streaming.
But it's
they
not
were
the
able to stream a
same. It's
catalog.
similar to when we were talking about practical effects. It's not the same as walking into a video store and walking around for an hour, picking up movies like a library and reading the back, and then talking to the guy behind the counter and being like, is this any good?
No, I mean, I
then
used to
having
go
a
to the Hollywood
conversation.
Video even after, because that lingered a little bit longer than all my local Blockbusters. But, you know, there's something a little bit different about going in there, seeing the package, seeing the nostalgia, and then talking to other film people about it in person.
Exactly.
Or Friday
And that's
night,
why we
seeing
have
everybody
podcasts
gathering.
like this, because we miss the
But I
antiquity
would say
of
the early days, I don't know if you remember, but like the first days of Netflix when you could stream was very much walking into a video store, because it was very poorly organized, and the films there weren't all Blockbusters. A lot of them were B films or Tubi films that would be now Tubi films, were not Netflix. Netflix just grabbed as much shit as they could. They didn't really care.
Yeah,
I remember I think the first film I watched was like Rabid Grandma's Cannibals.
Yeah.
It was a really shitty ass film on there, and I was just like, what is this, and why are we paying for it?
Of course, we didn't have, loyalty to Blockbuster just because you had Blockbuster. I had Netflix too at the same time. So you're right. They would send you these random B-rate films that just at random, and you would watch them because we didn't have streaming. Like you said, there was no streaming. So it wasn't like you could just choose what you wanted to watch anyway. It was either cable TV or something on disc.
Yeah,
and so you would watch what came in the mail, or in case of working at Blockbuster, one of the 20 movies you brought home this week.
But I feel like even then, physical media wasn't what it was today. Today, physical media is cheaper, but it's also just seems much more of it. Everything's been made into physical media. Well, back then the movies were so new that it took them years to get it into the form that you wanted to see. I remember when DVDs first came out, it took forever for the VHS to get transferred over.
Oh yeah, for sure. They used to
and a lot of stuff didn't even make it. They're still making.
That's what I was gonna say. A lot of movies that I grew up with in the theaters as a child were never released on VHS. You either watched it in the theater while it was there, or you missed it.
And I think that some of them are now, a lot of the places are picking them up. A lot of these, like Severin Films and other film companies have decided to pick up a lot of these obscure titles and put them out on Blu-ray. But again, there's so many even just plain VHSs that were sitting in video stores that just never made it through. No distributor picked them up.
Right.
Like I just watched Alice, Sweet Alice, and that was a film I hadn't seen in many, 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 many years.
Sounds familiar. My memory bank isn't great with titles, but once something starts being described, I'm like,
I can know the title if I just watched it, but if you give me a day or two, I'm gonna be like, because I'll go through 3 or 4 movies in the night. I'll just flick through, watch them all. All these movies that people tell me I shouldn't watch or are too
that I should
terrible.
tell me. They
That's
tell
how
me I
I
shouldn't
found my
watch, and those are the ones
favorites.
I love to watch.
People were like, "You shouldn't watch the movie Baskin." I'm like, "Okay, let me watch it, buy it, and let me
That
talk
was
to
a
the
great
director."
one.
And then I interviewed the director. I hit him up in Turkey, and we scheduled a time, and we had a conversation.
That's cool. You met him in
was,
Turkey?
no, we did it via StreamYard, but he was in
okay.
Turkey.
I was like, that's wild. Talk
No,
about
I would have
physical
probably went
presence.
though. Maybe
That would have been cool.
It would have been cool, but I haven't done the whole I don't really like to fly too much. I'll travel, but I don't care.
Because of Final Destination. Final Destination definitely made you think twice about flying ever again. The very first one, I remember, was like,
oh. Between that and I think around the same time, 9/11, everything just like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
It's just like, you know what? Fuck planes. I'm
if
good.
you didn't have a fear of flying, you have a fear of flying now. New fear unlocked.
Okay, well, fuck planes.
Right.
Yeah, but what's worse? Knowing that, okay, so you found a destination, you see, okay, a spark can happen, all this shit can happen. Or when you find out all the safety maneuvers they tell you go up, like if a plane's going down, you put your head down between your legs and oxygen to help you. You find out that, wait a second, the oxygen is supposed to make you giddity, so you won't be much of a panic when you go down. And the
oxygen masks work like nitrous.
Nitrous, yeah, it's supposed to make you giddy, so it won't be as much of a panic.
Huh?
When you go down,
I know that.
And when you put your hands with your head between your legs, it's so when there's impact, you instantly would get killed because your head will be compacted.
You'll break your neck,
and you can't sue if you're dead.
So they're like, ultimately, if it's going down, we don't want you to survive. We want you to be in the primo spot to die.
Yeah, it's like you're fucked when you go down. So it's like,
that's crazy.
I mean, it's just
so you're better off laying your seat back, doing the opposite of what they said. Throw your seat back, leave the mask off, and just brace for impact.
You're better off just running towards the cockpit and doing whatever the fuck you can do.
Which ain't gonna be shit.
What are they gonna do with that?
You said the pilot's drunk, and you're just like, oh, that's the least of my worries.
Right? I don't know how to fly this fucking thing. That's the most of my worries. Even if I would have successfully make it to the cockpit and do anything, what would I do?
Yeah, but the pilot never did. I think the pilot has
thing and it goes up. That's the only thing.
Pilot always has a better. Listen, the pilot always has a better survival chance. So you be in the cockpit.
I don't know. I would assume that. Well, I don't know. I don't know anything about planes, but
yeah. But what's weirder, your plane going down and your plane just going missing, like that Malaysian.
Oh, those are crazy.
Gone.
Yeah, poof.
Nowhere
the Bermuda Triangle and all the missing planes.
Yes,
where they just
something. For some reason, I thought that was going to be more relevant when I.
Has there ever been a good movie about the Bermuda Triangle?
No, but when I was a kid, I thought it would be much more relevant. Like, I thought it would really be almost people's demise. Like, and then all of a sudden, people stopped talking about it.
I think with GPS and tracking and the technology we currently have, it's less likely for planes to get lost in the Bermuda Triangle area where they used to.
So maps. See, and that's what brings me back to the horror world. I think it was movies that are dated are almost scarier, or if you can date a movie and you can get rid of the GPS factor and go back to a paper map, you can make a better movie.
Pre-cell phone horror movies.
Pre-cell phone too.
Pre-cell phone horror movies, because now they have to give an entire 15-minute sketch about what happened to the cell phone in order for there to be no cell phone for the horror movie. And
it's always the same. Either they're in a place of no signal, or they dropped it, they broke it.
Exactly. It's always the same one, or they've lost them, or they were stolen. Something, it's always the same basic, the cell phones aren't going to work. what would be cool is if the cell phones worked, but you weren't able to. They were being redirected or
Well, that's
something.
why I like the movie Rest Stop. The lady's
Yes,
calling the police and she's talking to
she's
the
talking to the
killer.
guy. Yes, that was awesome. That was a
That was a
great
good movie.
twist. Yes,
That
that was
had a
a
lot
great
of
movie.
good twists in it, and I thought that was very well done.
Yeah,
But it's one of those movies where, yeah, you think he's getting help. No.
right.
You know, but I mean, sometimes it makes sense. Like I just watched Happy Games, and I watched the first one and then the remake, and both of them are basically the same movie, shot by shot by shot. But you know, the first thing the killer does when they enter the house is throw the phone. Then the original movie throw the to hand it was in the 97 and 98, I think 97. So they had wireless phones. He threw the wireless phone in the sink, and then in the remake he threw the cell phone in the sink. So they got
Right.
rid of the phone very quickly. But in most things, this something about having a phone, a GPS, and all this.
Yeah,
Things aren't scary.
and
Knowing that
even the 80s movies, horror movies, you had to get rid of the house phone in some way, and it was usually just the phone lines were cut. It was the same thing,
but it
but
was easier to do.
yeah, and you could set it outside of a home, set it outside of a building, and then if the setting wasn't in a building, you have no phone. So
No,
that
and
was
I mean,
simple enough.
and all
But
you needed was just a clip of somebody just snipping a single line that went
then you
into the
go back
house.
even further in horror movies and you go back to the real classics in the 1920s and 30s when they didn't have sound and they didn't have phones and they didn't have technology and they didn't have CGI. And some of those movies are actually really great to watch too. I used to watch those as a kid because my grandma and grandpa liked to watch them because they were the original horror movies that they watched. So, yeah, I've seen some of those really classic old black and white ones that were silent films,
Yeah.
and those were amazing. The amount of creativity that had to go into that in order to convey the message without sound, without a script, without, I mean, they had a script, but scripted movement. Yeah.
Yeah, it was more just an artsy kind of,
Yeah.
okay, we're doing a ballet play kind of, express
Right.
yourself.
Right. And the dramatic reactions and like the actresses had to be like really big eyed and like in order
And
to
getting just the perfect facial
convey
expressions.
the dramaticness in order to play up that, because that's all they had. That's all they had. They didn't have special effects. They didn't have gooey green monsters seeping up from the sidewalk or anything like that.
Well, no, there was none of that. You had to base it on storytelling and not even that visual storytelling, which is
Yeah,
hard.
visual
I
storytelling.
mean, let's face it, if you watch a horror movie, most movies, they got cues. You start to hear, a drone sound. You start to hear rises and
Yes.
tension and different
Yes.
aspects of the sound.
And you got a point there. The suspense, the surprise without the suspense
And then
in
you add
those
in the regular
classic old
soundtrack and
horror
the ambient
movies.
sound.
Yeah. Surprise, just
we got-
the element of there's the scary thing with
There it is,
no lead up to it. But
which must have been interesting, because I mean, how do you do a jump scare without a loud noise? I think more people rely on the loud noise than than what's being shown on screen.
And they could only do so much with regards to shock and awe. They couldn't really gut a man just to make it visually stunning.
I don't even think it was like allowed. I think like I was
No,
very
of course not at the
sanctioned of what could
time.
be on film.
We have pushed the envelope and pushed the envelope and pushed the envelope and pushed it to a point where we're like, anything goes now.
Well,
But
pretty much, it's like
wasn't always like that.
We're one step away from everything just being a documentary. And that's the
we
crazy
really
part.
are.
The next thing we're just going to be seeing dead bodies in a documentary. It's like, okay, well, no, we're not even in. We're like, I mean, at the end of it, you get desensitized very easily from watching a lot of these wild horror
that's
movies.
the unfortunate thing about the human experience is the desensitization to it. Made worse if you have a career in like healthcare or something where you're seeing people's dead bodies and injuries and
yeah, but then things start going to your head. You'd be like, okay, Is it like martyrs? Are these people seeing beyond? What is going on? Yeah.
Yeah. It gets pretty wild. So yeah, I used to be a registered nurse, so I've seen some things in real life that like compete quite well with the horror movie on human bodies.
Oh
And
yeah.
you have sympathy for these folks, but you also there's an not entirely not morbid interest in what you're doing, because it's like, wow, I didn't even know that you could get a wound that big that you could see internal organs through and be talking and alive. But
Yeah,
you
because
are.
the thing is, I think horror movies portray it more realistic than people think. Because I believe, in my experience, that if done in certain ways, the human body can endure a lot.
It really can. It's
It's not just a one shot
utterly
kill. People are
astonishing
dead. Yes. So
what a
when you
person can survive, the things I've seen and had to take care of in the moment. In the
well,
moment, it
somebody
doesn't bother me. Of
no, but
course,
it's
it's like a
later.
horror movie. I'm not enjoying it necessarily because that would be kind of messed up. I'm not enjoying it, but I'm involved in what I'm doing, and I'm
See,
you know
I'm not enjoying it. Like I could watch the most craziest fucked up torture scene, which might look real and might look crazy. I don't enjoy it, but I respect it for the fact of I'm
yes,
looking at it now through the
artistry.
eyes of a cinematic person. Of I want to make a movie. How are they doing this? And I start to question myself.
Yes,
How are they
yeah.
making it look so
The
real
awe,
without
the
the awe?
awe
Yes.
of it is what
I look at it
I'm
like you said from an artistic
experiencing.
point of view. Okay, this
It's
isn't
not
some
joy, but it is awe. I am awestruck by the things I've seen, both cinematically and in real life, and seen people
still.
realistically survive.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, wow, I didn't know that could happen.
Yeah, you would think that one would just keel over and be done, but no, you're here and it's happening. So,
It's that
yeah.
resilience that people have, I think, and sometimes it does get portrayed accurately cinematically, and that's why we see
Last House on
people.
the Left, the original,
Yes,
did a very good job of illustrating that very concept of what a person can endure and survive, come back from, and rise from the ash like a phoenix and just annihilate the persons who did it. That is the most great vengeance film. That is a great vengeance
the
film.
last house or I spit on your grave. Which one? I get
I
them
Spit on Your
confused.
Grave is pretty good. Is really that one's even better. Last House on the Left is.
I
I
thought
think
she got killed. I thought the girl died in the original.
in I Spit on Your Grave.
No, no, in last house.
Last House on the Left, the
I
original.
thought she died, and the parents were the ones that did the
Yes,
revenge
she
killing.
died. Her parents
Yes.
got even. They
But I
figured
think
out.
in the remake, I think she survived too.
Yeah, she comes back, and that's how they discover it. They
Yeah.
kind of softened it for the remake. That's why I like the original, because they didn't soften the edges.
they
They
didn't.
went guttural with it. They killed the girl, and there was like nothing good that came from the film. Everything about it was bad, because even when they got their vengeance, it wasn't like it was sweet vengeance. Their daughter's still dead. You know, so
I Spit on Your Grave was good vengeance though, because she
yes,
survived and everybody.
she
And I even
survived.
think like
She came back. She kicked their ass herself.
and I
Yeah.
thought the remakes were done good, especially the second one. I thought the second one was just really fucked up, and I thought they did a really good
They did a
job.
great job. They did a fantastic job on that movie. That was one of the better remakes. It's hard to do a remake. I give props to artists who do attempt to do them, because there's nothing ever is going to be like the original.
I mean, unless you do it shot for shot and you have the original director on board of the cinematography, you're not going to capture that essence. But if you're doing shot by shot, then it's almost like like Psycho, the same thing.
Yes.
When they remade that, it's just color version, cool, different actors.
Okay, yeah, different actors, colored versions, same film. Then you can't go wrong. You really can't. As long
that's why I do
as
like
long as
Happy
the talent
Days,
is there.
He did make
then
the
it's
film
being
the same.
carried by the actors, and definitely the actors have to be able to portray the same character that the original did.
But then you got just gut-wrenching movies that do nothing for nobody. Like Megan is Missing. There's really nothing for that except just to teach you don't talk to people online.
Yeah.
There's
That's
no
like
revenge.
a
There's no
twisted
revenge
Hallmark
for the parents.
film.
Well, that is all. I tell people
Twisted
to watch
Hallmark after school special.
it. They should just watch it in school. Don't go online.
Don't go online. This is what happens.
Don't go online. You won't end up in a barrel. It's simple as that. Okay. If
And
people
here
had
I
told
am
me that,
online. I'm not.
people
You
had
guys
told
aren't
me
gonna
that, I
put me in a
wouldn't have been a
barrel, are
podcast.
you?
But
You
I
guys
mean,
aren't
found
secretly
footage films.
clowns who are hunting me and gonna put me in a barrel, are you?
Listen, the clowns, you don't have to worry about clowns. Okay, like I said, clowns fear Victor. They crumble at the sight of Victor.
You know, when we had that clown scare going on where everybody was seeing clowns everywhere,
yeah.
that to me was the apocalypse. You can ask my friends and family. I was like, this is the end of times. There are
Well,
clowns.
then
I told
fucking
you. I warned you all.
then American Horror Story did the smartest thing. American Horror Story put out an episode about clown phobias, and
That's
pushed
one of
it
the
to the
only
envelope.
ones. That's the only one I didn't watch. The only
No, it
American
would
Horror
scare you to-
Story I didn't
No.
watch all the way through. And when I did watch it, I just hid my face during the clown parts because that clown is really scary.
For those of people that don't know, it's really a real thing. Like I'll be honest with you. Like I've done wrestling and I've been in arenas and such. And there was this one time they were switching between shows, and one of the wrestlers was a clown, and they were practicing the music. And all they did was hit the music, and one of the other females that were wrestling on the show broke down in tears, started trembling, and ran. And nobody knew what happened. And so it took some time to figure everything out. And come to find out, she had a really bad phobia of clowns, and she couldn't be in the same room. When she was young and little, she got lost inside of one of those fun houses, and I guess somebody tried to get her. I don't know, something happened, and
Yeah.
it stuck with her, traumatized her, and the music and the clown, it flipped her off, and it's a real thing. You could see it in her eyes. It just
Oh yeah,
turned on.
it's real. Because I'm a pretty logical person. Like I said, I'm a registered nurse. I'm like very scientific. We've talked about this before.
We're talking about movies that kill children, and I mean, here's a grown woman afraid of clowns. It's like, well, no, it's a real thing.
Yeah, like it's a real thing. Like, and I tell people when I meet them, especially in the haunted house industry, because a lot of them are clown characters, and I'm like, just a heads up. And I'm not telling you because I want you to scare me and I think it's fun. I'm telling you because I don't want to punch you in the face. And I really do not have a lot of control over that reaction if you corner
No,
me.
because it's almost a blackout state. It's like
Yeah, I'm
going into,
so
like-
fucking absolutely certain in that moment that you're the clown that's going to kill me. It doesn't matter if you are one of my best friends. So some of my best friends are clown characters. It does not matter if you are one of my best friends. If you've got me cornered and you are in your clown makeup, I will hit you until I can get away from you. I will try to get away from you first, but they just love to corner people. That's their thing.
Now, you watch like goofy shit like Killer Clowns from Outer Space or nah?
I have seen Killer Clowns from Outer Space once when I was younger. I didn't like it.
No.
I was just uncomfortable. They actually make me physically nauseous. The presence of them makes me feel like I'm going to throw up.
No, that's
So-
not that deep fair.
So yeah, like that movie the whole time all I remember about is feeling nauseous and being like, ugh.
My favorite film is Cannibal Holocaust. I really do have an appreciation for the film, not only because of its gruesomeness, but just because of what they had to do to make it. They made it on a shitty ass budget. They went out in the middle of nowhere and
I
filmed
gotta
it.
admit, I'm a sellout. My favorite movies are the classic mainstream movies. Most of them are. My favorite is Poltergeist. Is one of my favorite movies of all time. It was so original for its time. I love the Nightmare on Elm Street series, of course. Who doesn't love themselves a little Freddy? Again, he
Oh
was
no, they
for
just
his
re-released
time.
them on 4K, and they had like the 5th one in unrated version now, and everything. It's
Yeah.
a great series. It lives up. All these classics that
Fucking
you're mentioning,
fantastic.
they live up
and-
to today.
And they've talked about it in documentaries where they talked about the element that behind Nightmare on Elm Street was the infinity of possibilities, because it was the dream world. So literally any fucking thing could happen.
It could,
Because it's
But
the
the
dream
greatest part
world
is
that
it was
doesn't
still
play by
taken
our
from some-
rules.
but it was still taken. it was still taken from a real source that people were dying in their sleep in some weird ass town in America,
Yes.
and nobody knew why. So he
Yes.
was like, you know what?
There's
I'm
a
going to write a story
disease that
about it.
causes that. So there's a sleeping sickness of some sort that can cause that. They're the people that, if they sleep, they'll die.
It's a sleep paralysis demons that eat you while you're sleeping, but we don't
I've
go
had
on
one
that.
experience with a sleep paralysis demon, and that was weird. I didn't include that in our supernatural talk because I knew that it was, I think, just, I believe that is psychological.
I don't know. Me and Vic were talking about the shadow
I think
people earlier.
it was like fucking tripping or like sleepwalking. It was some state of sleep that wasn't completely being asleep but not being awake enough to move.
I'll be honest with you, and it's going to sound batshit crazy, but I've experienced myself having sleep paralysis, but not because there's something paralyzing me, but because I'm astral projecting and I'm actually not in my fucking body.
I did that a lot as a child. I remember
Yes.
that as a child. I remember that
You were able to
vividly.
fly out and like go past your school or go over the houses.
I hung out in the house, but I would get into things that I wasn't supposed to get into, like on top of the refrigerator and see what's up there. And things like that. So I
But
remember
coming out of that state, I would always feel the paralysis of like, I can't move. Okay, I can move now.
But I do wonder because, you know, in your childlike state, your memories are all dreamlike and phantasmal. And so it's hard to differentiate between what you fantasized about as a child or dreamt.
Yeah, but I did it in my 30s
really
too.
Experienced. Now, if you experienced it in your 30s, then it's probably got more validity to it. I've never experienced what I would call astral projection in my adulthood.
I tried it. I mean, it wasn't like, oh my God, here I'm going. It's like I
but something came down the hallway at me that I thought was my daughter, and she was carrying a pillow, and she had her hair in front of her face like the girl from The Ring. And she, I went to sit up to say something to her and realized I could not. And at that moment, I looked at her and she came darting at me with the pillow. And then I woke up. So to me, it was a psychological thing more so than a...
Well, that sounds like a dream if you woke up.
It sounds like it, but it was so real that the person who was sitting next to me, who was awake the whole time, or was supposed to be awake the whole time, I don't know if he was sleeping or not, but he also woke up or startled and went, "What the fuck was that?" And I went, "Did you see that?" And he goes, "The little girl." And I'm like, "We're not going to talk about it." And I just refused to talk about it because because he thought he saw something.
So it's almost like you were sleeping here, and whatever entered in right through the real world, sleep world, every world.
It might have been a paranormal experience. It could have been a ghost, and it just so happened to occur. Like, I don't know what the fuck that was. But I know that I've experienced what people describe as the sleep paralysis, where I went to sit up and I went to scream and I couldn't move and I couldn't say anything and I was just stuck watching. And there was nothing I could do about it. And it was the most helpless feeling I've ever had in my entire existence. And I don't like it. Don't want to do it again.
At least there was no clowns involved while you were paralyzed.
Yeah, I'm really grateful that it was some little girl and not a clown, because that would have just added to the absolute terror of they're seriously hunting me. They're even hunting me.
Thank you, Barbara. We appreciate you here.
Now, if they ever did a Nightmare on Elm Street that had a clown,
no, they wouldn't.
Like
Freddy's the man. They're not going to change Freddy.
Yeah, they better not. But that would disappoint me and terrify me.
The thing about clown movies is it's like there's a few clown movies out there. There's the movie Clown. There's a couple other ones about killer clowns. And then there's this Pennywise.
To me, clowns are low-hanging fruit. They're so easy. There's so many people who have that general fear because there's something creepy about clowns. I'm not the only one, so that just gives me more validity because I'm like, yeah, I'm among the thousands
of lot of people
who also don't like clowns. So, yeah, I think that it's just low-hanging fruit. It's an easy scare. I have actually been a clown for a haunted house one time. I got the most scares that night that I've ever gotten because all I had to do was walk up on people. It was easy. It was too easy.
You know what's crazy is I think the scariest part about the clown is how quiet they actually are. They get right close to you, and you don't realize they're there until you see their faces. And that's what
Right.
happened to you that night that you looked down. It's like
Exactly. And why he was trying to terrify somebody in the audience at what's supposed to be a family-friendly
because
show.
that's what carnies do. That's a carny tactic.
Oh, if that man is out there and
They all have a little
and he
perverted
does
in
this
them,
on a
too.
regular basis, then you need to let him know that that's not cool. Hiding under people's chairs and then popping up like some little creepy ass clown is not cool.
You're lucky you didn't
Not
punt
cool.
him.
Yeah, he is, but he was under my chair and I couldn't get to him, so I was like, I will run
would've just
away.
freaked
My
out,
first
started
instinct
stomping
is
my
to
feet.
run the fuck away. My second instinct, if I can't run the fuck away, is to fight back. It's definitely fight or flight. It is the
You
definition.
didn't even protect the people you were supposed to be watching.
No, they're on their own. Fuck all of y'all. If there's a clown involved, y'all
I
are on
love
your
it.
own. I ain't helping nobody.
Luckily, he was part of the show and wasn't just some maniac.
Right? Because I would have just been like, and then my clients died. The end. Unfortunately, that was where I failed at my job, but I was not about fighting some under the seat clown.
I wasn't fighting the clown. Sorry.
So I think that should be, I'm pitching that as a horror movie idea, a scene in a horror movie, because it was terrifying to experience.
I might write a story about this tonight.
The
The man and the clown under the seat. I'm gonna call it the clown under the seat.
It just shows up in random places underneath.
I could make a short horror out of this. I know I could.
Petrifying to clownophobes, whatever they're called. I think it's called
Chlora something. I don't know.
I want to say it's called chlorophobia, but that sounds like chloroform.
No, I think it is that.
Chloroform.
I mean,
coulrophobia.
There it is.
Yeah, and it's probably being pronounced wrong.
Why wouldn't they just, why wouldn't they just for the simplicity of things? Why
Clownophobia.
Clownophobia. We're afraid of clowns.
Terrified of clowns.
Arachnophobia, afraid of arachnids.
And like mimes don't bother me. I have a character that I do where I dress up as a mime. Mimes don't bother me. So movies that have mimes.
Also, it's just people that can't do like holes, like Swiss cheese looking things. They can't look at it.
Yeah, I know a lot of those people. Those are tryptophobias.
And then I'm sure that, within your thing, you've seen people that can't stand the sight of blood. They see their own blood like that.
Oh, yeah. Or other people's blood, just blood in general.
Blood in general.
We're so weirded out by this concept. My sister can't look at dead things. Dead things freak her out. She can't stand it. She'll call me and be like, "Oh, there's a dead mouse. Come get it."
Be like, "No, it's just sleeping."
Yeah. So everybody has.
No, there's a lot of different phobias out there, I guess. I know clown is very prominent though, because you've seen it.
My sister's also scared of sunflowers because they move with the sun, and she thinks that's just not natural.
But not for nothing, all flowers move with the sun.
But sunflowers do it with like visible movement. You can watch a sunflower be like, and I'm turning.
Well, yeah, they're bigger. They
creepy.
They're bigger. Every other flower's smaller. We don't sit and watch flowers though.
Yeah, well, not typically, but if you're sunbathing or something and you're facing a sunflower and you can watch that fucker just go.
That's like little Shop of Horrors shit going on.
It's a little creepy. It's a little creepy, but it's just what sunflowers do.
Nature.
That's fucking creepy and she doesn't like it.
It's nature. Nature's creepy though. There's creepier stuff in nature that we don't even. I don't know. Things that is creepy.
I think a good horror movie would be something about when they do horror movies about the ocean. I think that is one of those investments in infinity where they can do numerous things.
Yeah, but why do they always go to sharks? Why do they always go to the goddamn sharks?
Or sharks. Sharks get a bad rep, and it's not fair to them, really. More imaginative things than sharks.
That's what I'm saying. You got a million Sharknado movies. You got all this bullshit with sharks.
Sharknado is funny. Good. Sharknado is just funny.
Deep Blue Sea was okay, but I mean,
Deep Blue Sea was good.
but at the end of
Was
it,
really good.
sharks aren't. We come to find out sharks aren't even that dangerous, and 98% of the ocean hasn't even been
They are if you
explored.
bleed in the water.
Yeah, but
I mean, if you bleed in the water, you're kind of fucked. Anything that eats other things is going to want to eat you if you're bleeding in the water. So
but
don't
how
get
often are
in
you
the
going
water.
in the water deep enough bleeding? I mean, you
Well,
got to have the right set of circumstances going
right.
on here.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. And you should probably know better than to get in shark infested waters if you're bleeding in any kind of way.
You shouldn't even be in shark infested waters, anyways. I mean, it's not like Jaws where they're just coming on the beach. It's very rare.
Yeah.
But it instilled the whole fear in a whole generation. This my grandparents
Jaws,
watched
because it
that
was
movie.
original. Jaws was
They never
original.
went to the
At the
movies. They
time,
never
there
went to
wasn't
water.
anything like it. And
No.
that's what made it great. After it's already been done, though, there's only so many ways you can redo the same theory before it just gets kind of old. And
Very old.
yeah, and you need to move on to something.
But there's like, you know,
More
NASA went into
novel.
before space. NASA went into the ocean. They got afraid of for whatever reason and stopped studying the ocean. There's
Space
like
movies.
95%
Oh,
of the ocean that we haven't even looked at.
trying
And
to
you
think
would-
of the name of the one space movie that I love that's way out there. It was a really cool space movie.
Horror
crew-
movie.
The crew finds they were sent out to another ship that was supposed to have like living crew members on it. And when they get there, they're all dead. And they
Was it
clearly
Event
been there for a
Horizon?
long time. Yes, Event Horizon.
Yeah, I love
That
that
movie. Yes, that's among my like top 10 movies. I just, like I said, I'm bad with names of movies, but I'm like, I remember scenes from the movie.
I'm a sucker for the actor in that. He was also in Mouth of Madness.
Yeah. That and
Oh.
Cube. Cube was a good one.
Oh,
I
Cube
liked.
was a good movie. I thought Cube was interesting, and even all the prequels and sequels and everything. And then Japan came
Yeah.
out with a Cube, and I think Cube is just a very fascinating outlook. I think it's more
Yes.
innovative than Saw.
I have
It's more
nightmares about
creative than
Cube,
Saw.
and that's great. I mean, they're nightmares, but when I wake up from them, I'm like, oh, that was kind of cool. Because it's the going through the different doors and the different windows and what's in the room, and it's something terrible and you have to survive it until get into the next door, or it's something great.
But there was
Oh,
really no
good.
escaping anyways, and everything was just a big game. It was
Yeah.
just-
Yeah.
it
We're
was
never
wild.
gonna get out. It was
And
just
what really blew my mind,
all
I
about
think,
the
was just
experience. It's just like it's a metaphor for life. You were never really gonna get out. It's
no,
just
and it was
about the
wild because
experience.
you suffered
Which door
both.
did you open?
You suffered both. You suffered from claustrophobia being in the smaller box, but then when you zoomed out a little bit and you realized how massive of a world
Right.
of boxes you were in, you were overwhelmed on how large. 'Cause I remember the
Yeah.
one scene where they get in between and they just look up and down. All they see is just endless
Endless
boxes. Endless.
boxes. Endless, yeah. And it's such an overwhelming scene because you're just like, that's
It's like
the
the
moment you
Matrix. When you
realize
see the
there's no
Matrix, how
hope.
big the Matrix is. It's like, oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah. There's just like that hopeless feeling comes over you, and you're like, oh, there's no hope in this
You're
world.
not going anywhere.
Wow, they've robbed us of all hope. Fantastic.
But then they went back and did the prequel, and I thought it was great because they had Cube as almost like a government experiment or something, and the guy that's like at the end that tries to change things ends up becoming the kid in the beginning of the first movie.
Right.
So it explains why he's there,
Yes.
and I thought that was well done. And just even Hypercube was wild because it was moving so fast. It was like this thing's on drugs. It was going in like every diagonal directions. It was doing
Oh, yeah.
crazy shit.
Yeah, the whole thing, that was such an excellent concept.
But
Like,
nobody makes. But it was a different concept. That's the
yeah,
thing. Nobody
nobody's
was
done
making
anything
movies
like it
that.
since either. The Matrix was close. That was a good comparison, but yeah, that's totally different. But more digital.
Yeah.
What's happening digitally behind the scenes. So,
But even just the whole in a government experiment, and I think that freaks people out because a lot of people get paranoid about that. A lot
Oh,
of people
yeah.
believe in that.
Oh, yeah. And there may be some truth to it.
There
A
might
lot of
be.
because we have exposed some government experiments on human unsuspecting human beings. Have we not?
Oh
Historically
yeah.
exposed a lot of that happens. It does. So who's to say it has stopped happening just because we've become aware of when it had happened?
Well, because the thing is, at the
They just
time,
got
people
better at it.
that or at the time, people think it's in the name of science, and the need of the many always will outweigh the need of the one. So they're like a couple sacrifices here or there is nothing compared to the
Especially
millions we're gonna save in the future.
especially if they were selective people. You know,
Oh,
they really yeah, yeah, some really terrible atrocities have happened at the hands of the government, and so it's not unbelievable, and that in itself is a horror movie we all live on a regular basis.
oh yeah, I mean, I think a lot of those movies that they put out, or even they have conspiracy theories behind them, do well because people are legitimately
Right.
interested in that, and B, it is happening in front of us.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, if
So,
somebody made a movie tomorrow about a rich millionaire that, you know, was shuttling people to an island and it was an unknown island and stuff, this thing would take
exactly.
off. People would
It
be
would,
watching this
because
shit.
people would be like, "That's very familiar. That really happened," and would be compelled to see what the cinematic outcome
Take
would
would be.
be.
And
Yeah, how that might end, because this one's never going to really end. So
no, and that
this movie
too.
just
And I
keeps
also
going.
think that, you know, that's why these like true based on true story events or these dramatized events,
Closure.
closure, A, and B, want to see people are curious of, well, what did this look like? What did Jeffrey Dahmer look like while he was killing this guy? People are curious about this crap. So they want
Yeah,
to see the actual details, which in a real documentary, most likely they're not going to have footage of this unless it was modern. But older stuff, you're
right,
not going to have the video footage. There
right,
wasn't cameras on every corner.
right.
So you have to, you know, like the old unsolved mysteries, they would do these reenactments and
They
such.
did. And that's why I fall asleep to that stuff, because it's comfut food to
Oh, I
me.
like
I
Stack's
grew up on
voice.
horror and
It's
unsolved
Stack's
mysteries and
voice.
stuff
He's
like that. Yeah, his
comforting.
voice is
Robert
mind
Stack's
numbing,
man.
but it's in a comforting way. You're like, yes,
You
tell
got
me
the
more
theme song
about
on
this
loop.
horrible murder.
Ah, they were on. Yeah, but then after the horrible murder, they would talk about three guys that went disappearing on some alien highway, and then they would
Yeah,
jump into something else.
exactly. They did. They
And then
did.
at the
They
end, there'd
did
be some hope. There'd be
shake it
like,
up
you
a
would
bit.
wait and you'd be like, update. Mary Ann's
Update.
killer was found, and Mary Ann was, and you would be like, oh, I can sleep tonight. They found Mary Ann's killer.
Fantastic. That's
And
great.
I remember watching these later, and like, they were by the time I was watching them, they were already 5 or 10 years old. And I'm
It was
thinking to myself,
awesome that a lot of crimes were actually solved by unsolved
yeah,
mysteries.
but I had such unreasonable fears from watching episodes that it wasn't fun. I was afraid of motorcycle gangs for a while because I seen some episode. I was afraid of all this weird shit because Robert Sachs was telling me there was these people out there that were unsolved.
Right, right. And then it just
It,
became these broad generalities in your head of like, all of them are like,
well,
they're
yeah, I
scary.
looked around. I'm like, okay, that guy's probably in a motorcycle gang. He's in a bike. He's a gang member
I'm scared.
because they all look like the guy that was in the reenactment. They all have the same freaking facial structure, tattoo, and bike.
Fair enough, fair enough. I was
That's
always
the
scared of vans, because it was always a
rightfully
kidnapper
so.
van. Always a kidnapper van. Was
It
it not?
is.
That was like the go-to was, and I think it's still the go-to is the van.
That's why Black Phone did so well. He used a van.
Yeah.
That and I think the signature black balloons were creative in that, though. I did enjoy that. But at the end of the day,
It was
I hate
kind of
to
a
say it,
homage to Pennywise, though, if you
he
think
was a
about it, because
clown. He was a
originally it was
clown.
the red balloon that Pennywise would leave behind at a crime
Yeah, but
scene.
he was a clown though. He would dress up in makeup. He was known to be a clown. He called himself a clown, a performance clown.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what makes it all fucked up.
But he had that crazy ass mask. But it was that movie, the first one. again, I'm with you on the second one, but that first one, because I read the story as well.
The
And the
first
short
one was
story,
great.
I
Really
thought it was
well
done
done.
very well, and him
I had
being the
high hopes
role.
for the second one. I was kind of sad that it wasn't what I had expected of it.
I didn't because I didn't know where the hell you're gonna go with this franchise. Unless you go back. And the only way you can do something like that would be to go back. Show the earlier killing. Show the grabber when he was younger. That's the only way you can go back. You can't
Yeah,
go forward in a movie like this.
that would be cool. Go back in time, and I want to know more about his history. How did he get this far?
Why was he this way? What was his
Yeah.
parents? Who
Yeah,
was the
what drove
first?
him? Because we got no context for any of that.
No, I mean he had a brother, but then he killed his brother. Well, who if he had a brother, then he had parents. He
Well,
had
everybody has
family.
parents. I want to know about, like, even Jason has parents.
Yeah, but he had a
We know
family, which
Jason's
means
mom.
but up until the day he died, he had family that it was still talking with him, his brother, which means that he obviously wasn't known to be a killer. People enjoyed talking to him. His brother was actually kind of shocked that he had a kid in the basement.
Yeah, of course.
So
As he
it's
should
like
be.
I would love to know the more history. I love to delve deeper into that shit. But also just having Hawk be the person, I was a big fan of like Training Day and stuff, and seeing him in a different role, playing something like of a killer. I enjoyed that immensely, actually.
Yeah. I'm currently reading a Stephen King novel. I'm reading Holly, which
Ooh.
is, if you're familiar with the series he did that was kind of more like a detective series. End of Watch and I can't think of all the names of them. But Holly is part of that series and is about that one character. Anyway, in that book is the whole set is about this couple that uses a van to kidnap random people and keep them in their basement.
Isn't it? Let me ask you though. Isn't it creepier though, almost when it's not just some guy, that it's a guy and his girlfriend or a guy and his wife, and the
And
woman is involved? I
in
think
this
it's even
story, it's
creepier.
super creepy because it's elderly people.
Ah, that makes it much
So they're
better.
preying on people's compassion. They pretend they set up this ruse with a wheelchair, an
Oh, I
electric
like this.
wheelchair.
What's the name of this movie?
Holly.
It's a
It's a
book.
book.
Did he
Stephen
make it into
King.
did he make it into a
I don't
movie?
know if he's made it into a movie or a series yet. I'm hoping he will because we all know King does fantastic. Everything that's based on a
I'm
King
gonna
novel.
have to read this because I
Mwah.
like this already.
Yeah.
I see, like, I think there's something naturally spooky about old folk. Not that they're scary, but I think
It's
if
scary
you
that they've lived that long.
no, it's not even that. But if you frame it right and you get their right facial expressions, they can be quite frightening to the point that it
Oh,
gets kind of
yeah.
creepy.
I used to have nightmares as a kid because I was raised by my grandma and she was very, very wrinkly. She'd had 16 children, so she looked like a pug. She was very, very wrinkled.
Yeah.
And as a child, I didn't understand why she was so wrinkly compared to other people. And I would imagine her in my nightmares. She had one of those old fashioned ringer style washing machines. And
Yeah.
I'd one time watched her accidentally put her arm through it. And it was called a mangler because it fucks you up when it does that. And her arm was like all tore up. It fucked her arm up
Shit.
for a minute. Like, it wasn't broken or nothing. She was lucky, but it like tore the skin up. I watched her arm get smashed. It was bad. So I had nightmares that she went through the ringer, the whole of her, and came out on the other side like this thin skin that was smooth.
Oh, it took all the wrinkles out.
But it took all the wrinkles out.
Oh
And it was this
shit.
weird nightmare. But yeah, um, nightmares make great cinematic concepts.
Oh, if you put that to paper and you had some old lady, sweet grandma, all wrinkly, and then you
Just,
have her
yeah,
having
and then
this
she
weird
just gets
nightmare,
rolled out like paper in a
and you could
nightmare.
get that done on camera, that would be a perfect 8 minute
It
short
would. It
film.
would. It would, because that was like one of my most terrifying nightmares as a kid that was recurring. The other one was the
This
bald guy in the window. The head of my bed was at a window, and I won't sleep with the head of the bed under a window to this day, because in my nightmare, my recurring nightmare, there is a man, a bald man,
Does he
looking
look
in the
like
window like
Vic?
this. He
He's
looks
not
like
Vic. It
fucking,
wasn't Vic,
it
was
might
it?
have been Vic. It was Vic.
Fucking Vic.
I'm sorry. I was peeking Tommy. I'm
He was
sorry.
peeking in the window.
I'm sorry. I was trying
And I
to
reach up to pull the curtain down or the shade down so that he can't see, so I can go get the gun or something.
Yeah.
And I touch his face
Oh.
because there's no window there. And I'm like, and I always wake up right at that point, but
then remember,
wow.
though, that window can shut and break his neck, and that's one of your 1,000 ways
You
to
better be
die.
fucking quick though, because you just touched homeboy's face.
He licked your finger. I've seen those movies too, where like the people reach under the bed and somebody licks their fingers. They think it's a dog, but then it's a guy.
Ah!
Yeah, that's creepy. I've seen
That
it
is
though. I forget what it's
creepy.
from because like I've watched a lot of shit.
That is creepy. I like it.
It's
But-
good though. That's a crazy dream though, kind of in a way.
Yeah.
But it reminds me of almost of like wasn't recurring, but if you saw that Nicolas Cage film where like everybody was dreaming about the guy and he was like very popular in the dreams, and then he started like violently assaulting people in their dreams and raping them and shit, and people started hating him in real life. And forget the name of it. It's
I can't remember the name of that, but I'm
I can't,
almost
but it's
sure I'm almost certain I saw it. I think it was one of those
interesting enough because
one of
you
those
heard.
films I watched one time.
Yeah,
Most
I've
films
watched
that
it
are most
once.
memorable I've watched multiple times because
yeah.
they're great and I want to watch them again.
Or I
So
didn't understand. There's some films I just didn't understand the first time. I need to watch it to recomprehend. Because some of these
right.
films are much more fucked or deeper, or like not deeper, but like some of the analog films are the like more far out horror films.
There's so
Or
much going on
I'll
and
be
there's things
stoned
going on in
out
the
and freaking
background that you miss and like
yeah, like I'll
you
be
have to
stoned
watch it
out,
several
texting
times.
Vic, doing this, watching this video, and all of a sudden it's
Right.
over, and I'm like, what the fuck did I just watch? I gotta watch it again. I don't understand.
Yeah, I do that too. I did that with the new Toxic Avenger. I had to watch it like 3 times to
And
actually
then I'll be honest with you,
get through it.
unfortunately, with like a lot of the indie films, I have to watch them with like headphones because the audio quality on them is so unreliable from scene to
Oh,
scene.
that is a shame when that happens. That happened to an indie film that I was in that I think they probably have fixed it. But the original screening of it, the first screening of it, the audio quality was it kept going in and out. It would be like
Yeah,
too
and I mean,
loud and then quieter and
and
it
I get it. You
didn't
know, you're an
ruin the film,
independent
but it
filmmaker.
just
You don't know how.
made it difficult to enjoy.
Yeah, you might not know how to gauge it. I get it. I don't know either. I usually make things too loud because I always figure
I
that
know
people.
nothing about doing sound for movies, so I have no room to talk about how difficult the task is to get
Oh,
it.
I don't know anything about the task, but I do my own sound for my own short films and stuff. But I always make them louder just on the premise of that people can always lower their TVs. It's
Right.
very harder to get a volume higher than you can possibly get. So if I make it too low, they could put their channel to 100. They're not going to be able to hear it.
Right.
You can always go down. You can't really go up. So that's how I always look at it. But it's true. That's how I don't know. That's how I base it. I could be totally far fucking off. I probably drive people annoying how loud the shit is. But I'm also part deaf. I've listened to too much music. I like things loud. But no, that's one of my major problems with some of the indie films, just because I have to put the headphones. Otherwise, I can't understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
also, I'm watching, like I said, a
The
lot of
sound
these
quality
movies.
bothers me. There's like a misophonia to it.
Yeah.
I can't focus on what's happening in the film if the sound quality is too far off. So
Yeah, that, and then like also, I mean, like I said, I watch a lot of films at night, and my wife's sleeping, and so I have to keep it low anyways. And if it's that low, well, then I put on subtitles. But most of the indie films don't got subtitles, so I don't know
yeah,
what the hell they're saying, and I can't rely on just watching visually without. They're not audio like They're not those original movies that you could tell by facial expression what's going
Exactly.
on.
They're
Like,
not the silent film type movies. They're not filmed for that, so you
no,
don't
so it's kind of
you
hard
don't
to
know what's
enjoy.
going on.
But once again, Zuul, we went over the time limit.
We have indeed. We could talk for days, I think.
We could.
We'll
I
have
know
to
we
do
very
this
much
again
can.
sometime.
We will have to talk maybe the end or the mid-year. There's supposed to be a lot of great horrors. A new
Yeah.
Scream coming out.
That's
supposed to be
fantastic.
good.
Yeah, let's see
One of
some
my
new
favorite
films
movies.
and then reconvene and talk about those. That would be fantastic.
Yes, yes. But for those that didn't catch the other stuff and all that info, where can folks find you?
Oh, they can find me. I'm gonna have you guys tag my link tree in the comments. That'll take you everywhere. I have some spicier stuff that's available. I have a Patreon that has some of my more artistic stuff. I'm in a couple of small horror films and a couple of music videos that are available out there. So yeah, there are links to a lot of it in my link tree because it just has all the links for everything. So enjoy,
Great.
get all your Zuul. I also have a special going, of course, still on my calendars, being the beginning of the year. We've got a new 2026 calendar. It's a little spicy, and it's you can just hit me up for that, and we can get an autographed copy sent out to you.
Awesome. Thank you
So,
very much. Thank you
yeah.
again for coming on Talking Horror. Much appreciated.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everybody at home, for joining us. And as always, stay spooky.
Like and subscribe.